How? And then she discusses the deep, deep sickness in the country. There's no help, no counsel in any of them. She attacked Twitter and Elon and finished with, fuck Donald Trump.
Man.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
What's up, everyone? This fiery video sets the stage for a clash of titans. Megyn Kelly versus Rachel Zegler. This drama, Kelly doesn't hold back, dismantling Zegler's social media meltdown and calling out the woke hypocrisy that's infiltrated Disney and Hollywood. The fallout? A sharp critique of Disney's identity crisis and its failure to connect with mainstream America. This isn't just a takedown of Zegler, it's a full-blown indictment of the cultural bubble Hollywood is trapped in. Let's dive in as Kelly obliterates Zegler out-of-touch worldview, all while exposing the broader decay in progressive Hollywood's messaging. Buckle up because Kelly is about to bring the receipts. Let's get into it.
I got another example of it. Now, this person is not a politician and she's not a newscaster, but she's pretty famous and she's been in the news for bad things over the past couple of years as far as the right half of the country is concerned. Her name is Rachel Zegler. Zegler? I don't know. Zegler. Okay. There's something wrong with this person. She's also known as the star of Snow White and the Disney movie. Remember, she was out like a couple of years ago being like, there's certainly not going to be a prince rescuing me. I can tell you that. And then even Disney got on its heels and they're like, we're going to reshoot the movie immediately. Like, we're going to make some changes because there was so much backlash to her arrogance and just inanity. Well, she's back and she's very, very upset about the Trump win. Okay. This is a post she made on X. Here's what she posted. And by the way, she's starring right now in Broadway's Romeo and Juliet, so don't go see that. Okay. She writes, I find myself speechless in the midst of this. Another 4 years of hatred leaning us towards a world I do not want to live in.
Speechless, more like clueless. Zegler is 23, has no kids, and yet somehow imagines herself as a victim of dystopian nightmare conjured by Trump supporters. This is peak Hollywood melodrama, folks. Self-centered, delusional, and utterly detached from reality. She's not heartbroken for America. She's just angry the world doesn't align with her personal fantasy.
Leaning us towards a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in. P.S. She has no daughter. She has no children at all. Leading us towards a world that will force her, who's her, your daughter who doesn't exist, okay, to have a baby she doesn't want. Talk about borrowed worry, fellas. Leaning us towards a world that is fearful. Yeah, 23 years old, no kids. I shouldn't be this shocked, but I am. I am heartbroken for my friends who awoke with fear this morning. And I am here with you to cry, to yell, to hug, to wax poetic on how the left continues to fail us in forging a new path forward. This loss should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes. I echo Ethel Kane's statement more than anything. May Trump supporters and Trump himself never know peace.
Yeah.
What the F? How?
Yeah.
And then she discusses the deep, deep sickness in the country. There's no help, no counsel in any of them. She attacked Twitter and Elon and finished with, fuck Donald Trump.
Imagine if a conservative actress said F Biden supporters. She'd be canceled within hours. But Zegler, Disney stands by her despite this divisive and hateful rhetoric. Gina Carano was fired for less, proving Disney's blatant double standards. The hypocrisy is almost glaring.
Man.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
That's the thing is, so Disney, I mean, this saga, like you said, goes back a very long time. So she initially comes out and Disney's first film that they ever won an Academy Award with was Snow White. It's beloved by, children and parents all over the world. And she says that that's actually a very creepy story. A woman doesn't need to be rescued by a prince, and just attacks the film that is the cornerstone of everything Disney's built. They have this like PR move where she goes, she's like, no, actually, I love Snow White. It's a very nice story. And she steps in it again.
By the way, make sure to leave down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with a lot of the points made here. This is a place for discussion. Also, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. Really helps out the channel. Let's get back into it.
And this comes at a time when Disney stock keeps going down.
Yeah.
And they're like, please just do not say anything. And yet again, they
it's so
can't moderate.
simple. It's so simple. It's like we took all these beloved things that everybody loves and we ruined them, and we're shocked that we lost this election. That people, you know, revolted against that.
Yeah, no, there are a variety of responses that come to mind when you hear her post, but it is music to my ears. And I'm not sure which part she's playing in Broadway's Romeo and Juliet, but I feel like that sets her up for a leadership position in the Democrat Party. And I would like to see her on a major party.
Totally. Of course she's Juliet. Of course. And they'll have no problem with this. Can you picture a Broadway actress who issued a post saying, F Biden supporters. May Biden or Kamala never have a moment's peace. That person would be fired so fast it would make your head spin. They wouldn't last one more minute in any Hollywood role. This is truly like, she has to go. I'm sorry, Disney. She has to go. Right now, they're dealing with the controversy with ABC, with one of their biggest stars, Michael Strahan, who refused to put his hand over his heart for the anthem, and the blowback just for that. He stood there with his hands in front of him, even though he's the son of a military vet. The blowback has been enormous. It is dominating like the Daily Mail now for a week, for 4 days now, since Veterans Day, for that. And you're going to put out a Disney film with Snow White, a beloved American character, with a woman who hates more than half the country, the half that just elected Donald Trump. This is an incredible pivot point right now.
Disney is so wrapped up in its progressive echo chamber that it's alienating millions of Americans. Casting someone like Zegler, who openly despises half the country, is cultural arrogance. Hollywood doesn't understand regular Americans anymore, and this disconnect is destroying their credibility.
We'll see which way the woke Disney decides to go.
Yeah, no question about it. I also think it's just sort of a microcosm of this larger issue that Democrats and progressives have had, in that they literally need to implant brain damage into people. And you see it, like, I mean, look at that quote that you just read from her. I mean, just completely insane. If you're going to distract millions of people from a failed economic policy, open borders, things that demonstrably make their lives totally worse, the only way to do that is to give them actual brain work.
Yeah.
Right? And like really pollute their information flow to the point where they don't know how to handle themselves in public. And like, you just don't see that on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can have huge disappointments, but it's like, you know, life goes on. For them, it's like, no, it's the end of eternity, because I'm surrounded by this information flow that has convinced me that literally is coming back. And it's sad, honestly.
Right. It's no wonder that institutions like Disney and ABC are so out of touch with reality.
Disney's identity crisis isn't just a business problem, it's a cultural warning sign. They took beloved characters like Snow White and turned them into vehicles for activism nobody asked for. This isn't progressive, it's regressive. When you alienate half your audience, don't act surprised when your films tank. Your stock drops and your brand becomes a punchline.
When you consider the fact that 80%, 90% of the people who work in both of those organizations think exactly like she does. And until they have a 50-50 split, they're not going to understand. A 50-50, like half Republican, half Democrat. Until they have that, they're not going to understand how to talk to regular people.
Well, Ashbrook, there's a report out today about how these so-called mainstream, meaning corporate media dinosaurs, are in a full-blown panic right now, trying to find people who actually understand Donald Trump and his voters to come and be commentators on their shows, like The View. Then there's this whole debate about, is somebody going to get fired? Because already, believe it or not, they have two purported conservatives on The View right now. I know you don't know that, but they all hate Trump. They all hate Trump. So it's like, well, did they bring in a seventh chair onto the already crowded table? Or do they fire somebody, replace with an actual Trump supporter? I'll be shocked if they find an actual, even Megyn McCain was never a Trump supporter. She was just a conservative. They haven't had an actual Trump supporter on there, I think, ever. So that's the same network. So they're worried about how to get a conservative, a Trump supporter on The View that's going to put out this with this star who hates us, who's a woke Snow White. Like, they don't know what to do. They have no conservatives in their lives. They aren't out of the echo chamber. They're in the same echo chamber as this Rachel Zegler is, and that's why they can't figure out how to fix anything.
Right. And you don't solve the problem with window dressing. One person sitting on the desk at the View having a conservative point of view is not going to change the problem, because they're going to get bullied to kingdom come when the cameras go off. They need to change the culture of these places. It has to be half Republican, half Democrat, just like the rest of our country. And in the case of ABC, I think they should hire 50.2% of their staff at Republican to look exactly the way the popular vote looked last.
I mean, I guarantee you the crew over there is already Republican. The crews tend to be more right-leaning. They're the best piece of network news. I love all the crew guys I worked with, even at NBC. But the on-air talent and the producing staff and the administrative staff is a different story. So they're not going to. And that's the problem. It won't work. You're right, because look what's happening on CNN. We just played the clip with the great Scott Jennings, who's been a one-man, band over there trying to take down these liberal talking points. It's entertaining for us to watch. He's not saving CNN. CNN's ratings are in the fucking toilet. Sorry, they are.
This is the perfect comparison. Just like CNN, Disney is bleeding viewers because they refuse to step outside their ideological bubble. The media and Hollywood share the same flaw. They can't admit they're wrong. Instead of addressing real issues like rising costs, declining trust, and alienated audiences, they double down on the very behavior that's driving people away. This isn't just about Zegler's ridiculous Instagram posts. It's about the broader cultural arrogance that's infecting institutions like Disney and CNN. They've convinced themselves that the problem isn't their content, it's their audience. And until they realize how absurd that is, they'll continue to spiral into irrelevance.
So it's not going to save you unless you actually change the way your network is set up, and until you actually get the big first sit down with Kamala Harris and you send a real journalist in there, not you, Dana Bash, to ask actually hard questions with follow-ups that are pressing. It's not that hard. It was a mere 10 years ago that you had journalists over there who would do it. You let it slip away.
This clip wasn't just about Rachel Zegler's embarrassing Instagram triad. It's about the broader collapse of credibility in Hollywood and media institutions. As Megyn Kelly rightfully points out, people are tired of being lectured by elites who hate them. Zegler's post is a symptom of this disease, but the real issue lies with corporations like Disney that amplify this nonsense while alienating their core audience. Kelly doesn't just annihilate Zegler at this point, she exposes the raw at the heart of woke Hollywood. And let's face it, if Disney wants to survive, it's time to cancel Zegler, not the audience that made them famous. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts or opinions down in the comments below. If you agree or disagree with a lot of the points that were made in this clip, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and we will see you guys in the next one.